I feel that it's actually going to allow us to implement 7-figure merchandise programs in the corporate space as we go regional. We're currently doing business in 24 states, and the plan is not just to gain certain market share in Louisiana. It's to go throughout the country. And so we're very, very, very excited about that. We also re-signed our contract with our ad agency of record, Zender Communications. Lori, thanks for some of your consulting and advice on that. We had talked, and they do a tremendous job of telling our story, the different story that we're all trying to tell a different story. Ours is e-commerce, automation, time savings, brand management, and those types of things. So it was a big day, and didn't sleep much last night. Coach, I can't thank you enough for your time. You got a lot going on, and crowd here, Matt, and everyone. Stanley, thanks for your time. So it's now a whole lot to us. And I'd like the table over here. You know, I was with David Bondi maybe 18 months ago, and I asked him for lunch just so I could try to learn something, because goodness knows I do. And I said, David, why do I have a board of directors? He put his martini down at Gino's, and he said, why wouldn't you have a board of directors? And I felt like that was fairly telling. And it's because it's mentorship, it's guidance, really a group of advisors. Todd Stevens, I can't thank you enough, one of the most impressive people I've ever been around, personally and business-wise. Everyone in this room knows why that is. Lori, Lipsy Aronson, you know, if you have a supply chain question, or a brand question, or a leadership question,
Don't call that.
yeah. I've got Lori on speed dial. So thank you for your support. T. Brown, you've been there for us since day one. You've been a great client. You're a great organization that continues to climb. The financial mentorship you have provided me means a ton. You know, Mark Kuvion, if you've got a creative question, if you've got an IT question, an advertising question, if you need to hey, Coop, do you know John Doe or Jane Doe? You think Mark knows him? So he's been very, very, very good to me. Somewhat kind of looked out for me throughout my life, and I appreciate that. So thank you to the board and then the clients. I'm not going to go through everybody. There's so many. Community Coffee, Postal Wake, Netterville, Cajun Industries, Terra. I can't thank you enough. You thought into our automation e-commerce story. Why are people touching things? And what is the cost of that? So thank you. Your firm's been tremendous. So we're going to get going. I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to have Coach Wade come talk about his brand, the LSU basketball program. I want to talk about this gentleman, if I may, Joe Dean Sr. We refer to him as JoJo throughout our family, close friends, whether it's Anthony Piazza, Lee Carney, Matt McKay, Stanley Jacobs. And JoJo was a true hero to me. And I thought this morning, you know, what I say about JoJo amongst all of you all. John, obviously, you know, has a close relationship, has had with the Dean family. And, you know, when I was 9 years old at Thanksgiving or Christmas, I would go into JoJo's office and I would thumb through his Rolodex. And I would look up Julius Irvin's number. I would look up Larry Bird's number. I was 8. You know, and it was Christmas Eve. And he'd come in there and say, son, I'm going to get Julius on the phone for you. And he would do it. And then, you know, I didn't know much what I was doing at Ole Miss at all. I did get out in 4.5 years, or 4 years in the summer. But he made one phone call and got me into grad school, one phone call. He made one phone call and he got me an internship with a sports marketing firm in Washington, D.C. I'd like to think maybe we've walked through some doors since then. But I would say this, that other than maybe 2 or 3 people in this room, it's no one really knows how many people he helped. He didn't, I was one of thousands, and I'm not talking hundreds. And John Wooden, Dean Smith, Bobby Knight, they had him on speed dial before there were cell phones. And, you know, he was not just a marketing guy, he was not just a TV commentator, he was a sales guy. And he got that, traveled like an absolute maniac throughout the globe. And his wife and my mother were extraordinarily close to both from Marksville, Louisiana. And so, excuse me, I said sister. Mom and Big Dar's sister. They're both now deceased. JoJo passed 4 years ago. And so I know many, if not all of you, know that name. And, you know, one of the great sports business minds I've ever known. And I just thought, Coach, having you, and we got a lot of basketball DNA in this room, which is pretty cool stuff. And I wanted to take that opportunity to acknowledge someone that's meant a lot to me and to our family. So again, thanks everyone, and really appreciate it. Coach Wade, come on up and talk to us and let us know what's going on. I know you got a lot going on. So, thank you.
All right, my voice is a little rough. We didn't play very well earlier this week. We had practice this morning at 6 a.m. I appreciate you guys listening to me. The way I feel about it is we play our first home game a week from today, so I got about another week of people listening to me before they realize it's over. It's not going to work. But we're going to talk a little bit just about branding and our brand and what we're trying to do with LSU basketball, what we've done at other places. I certainly don't have all the answers, but I do think basketball in particular is becoming a young person's game. I'm young. I'm 34 years old. Head coach at LSU. I don't have a lot of advantages over guys who've been doing it a long time. But if we can create a niche with our brand, if we can create a niche with our energy and our enthusiasm and how we do things, that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. I think everything starts with your culture. Some of you guys have heard me talk before. I'm not going to talk about everything I talk about usually, but I think it all starts with your culture. For us, our culture is act the right way. ACT, act the right way. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to be committed. We're going to be thankful. That's how we run the program. So everything in our program is 110 miles an hour. You have to tell us, whoa, not go. Like we're moving. We're moving. And I want guys, when you're in our program, when you play for us, when you're in our organization, if you make a mistake going all out. Don't make a mistake tiptoeing around. Give it everything you got. Make a mistake, we'll figure it out from there. We want guys who are committed. People who are committed to what we're doing, committed to the process, committed to something that's a little bit bigger than themselves. That's tough to do. I coach 18 to 22-year-olds. It's not the easiest thing to do to get them all on the same page to do anything. I couldn't get them to agree to a meal tonight. All right? So it's tough to get them to agree and commit to anything. But I think that's the most important part. One thing that happened when I took over the LSU job in March, the first day was a Wednesday when we had the press conference and all that. And so you do all I actually had dinner the night before with Jake, and we had the press conference and the student union. Everything was great. Then I went to go meet with the team. So I walk in the meeting room to meet with the team. And half the team's kind of slouched down in their chairs. About 3/4 of the team has their earrings in. And we got cell phones out. And about 2 players are wearing LSU gear. So I'm sitting here going, oh shoot, can I go back to Richmond? I'm also going, all right, there's a lot of opportunity here. But my point being, there was no commitment level to LSU with our team. Our guys had no pride. What they didn't know is earlier that day, I had taped a TV segment in our locker room. Well, I went around the locker room and I started writing down. I didn't know who all the players were. I started writing down all the players whose lockers were messy. They had shoes everywhere. They had stuff everywhere. So I just started calling them out in the meetings. I said, where's Aaron Epps? I said, why do you have these shoes here? Wait, the guys are like, what? This guy's nuts. This guy's nuts. But my point being, they had no commitment level to LSU. They had no pride about what was going on. If you're going to have a good culture, if you're going to have a winning team, no matter what, there has to be a level of pride. And hey, guess what? Not everybody's going to agree with what's going on. Not everybody's going to have that pride. You got to get rid of it. That's the way it goes. I was speaking a couple weeks ago at a deal over at a Lions club, and this nice lady, I got done with a little talk, and this nice lady raised her hand. She said, Coach, I've been a season ticket holder for 30 years. So we really appreciate that. Hopefully you'll make it a 31st. She said, I got a question for you. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I'm not going to recognize any of the players when you have your first game. I said, well, we've got 4 or 5 back from last year. You should be able to recognize them. And she said, well, I just really wish we'd have... I said, ma'am, we came in last place. You want me to keep all these losers around? But my point was, they either get on board or they get out. You either get on board or you get out. If you got a culture that's in a brand that people want to be a part of and people have pride about it, then they'll get on board. If not, it's time to move on. I always tell our guys, you sink or swim. There's no float. Either get in, get out, but you're not just going to kind of wallow in the middle. You're not going to wallow in the middle. We want guys who are committed to represent LSU, committed to represent our state, committed to representing what our program's about, acting right. We want people who are thankful. We want people who are thankful. I think we live in, I'm not going to get into a bunch of other stuff, but I think we live in an entitled world. I think people give me this, give me that. And so, you know, it's important to me that we have people who are appreciative of the opportunity. Every day is not perfect. Everything we do is not perfect. They're not going to agree with everything. But at the end of the day, be appreciative of the opportunity that you have. Be thankful. Appreciation is the currency of success. Be thankful for what you got. Be thankful to be at LSU. Be thankful to be on scholarship. Be thankful that we feed you a training table every night. You may not like the meal. I don't care. Eat it. All right? It beats having to pay for your own meal. And so be appreciative and be thankful. One thing we do within our team, within our program, so every 6 weeks, once a month, basically, I meet with our guys for 30 minutes, and we don't talk anything about basketball. We just talk life. We just talk nothing basketball-wise. How's this going on with your parents? Anything we can help you with? Can we get you? I've had guys who don't have driver's license. Coach, I want to learn how to drive. All right, well, we're going to help you. We're going to set this up with Driver's Ed. We're going to, whatever it is, any sort of life skill, we want to help with in that 30-minute meeting. The other thing we do that we get the most benefit out of, our guys get the most benefit out of, is the first time I do it, we had a retreat 2 weeks ago, and I did it at the retreat that I took our team to. And I give them a note card, pen and paper. And most of them look at the note card and say, "You want me to write a note?" What are we, nobody writes notes anymore. Like, "Coach, can I send them an email?" No, I'm not sending an email. I'm going to send a handwritten note. I'm going to teach you how. I'll figure out the address. Just tell me who it is. I'll figure out the address, and then I'm going to send the letter. Well, within 10 days, about half of them, "Coach, I had no idea how much that meant to the person that I sent it to." They called me immediately back. I had one of my guys send it to one of his friends who helped him through high school. When he sent it to it, he sent it to a jail. I didn't know how to address it to a jail. I had to get somebody to figure out how to address it to the jail. He sent it, and the guy hadn't heard from somebody in like a month. That was the only piece of mail he'd gotten, and now they've reconnected with the kid who helped him. He's now in trouble, and he's going to get out, and that sort of thing. But I think it's important that you live in a state of appreciation, and that you're thankful for what you got. We try to teach that to our guys every day, and that's tough. It's tough. 18 to 22-year-olds, it's tough. But I think if you have good culture, that matters. That matters. And then you got to recruit the right people. Once you set the culture, being aggressive, being committed, you got to recruit the right people. There's thousands of talented basketball players. At the level we are, there's about 100, talented players. And then you've got to start weeding out and find people who fit what you want. People who fit what you want, people who fit what you're doing. We've recruited very well here so far because we found people who fit us. It's simple. Once we do all the legwork and find the right folks, they're all going to want to come. People get all nervous in recruiting, but they're all going to want to come. One of the last kid that we had committed to us, he's everything we're about. We want to be a blue-collar, tough, hard-working team. That's what we want our brand to be. That's who we are. I think it ties in well with our state, with our people. I think everything ties together. Well, this kid, he picked us over basically a blue blood program. I can't really talk specifically, but he picked us over North Carolina, blue blood program. I think most 90% of the people would probably 98% of the people would probably pick North Carolina over LSU for basketball. All right, especially over a 34-year-old who's never won a game in the SEC, and Roy Williams has, national championships. Funny story, we were recruiting him. And I always like to be the first person to go into the home if we can. I always like to kind of set the tone. So we flew in. He's from a small town in Florida, just rural Florida. And so there's just one little small airport you got to fly into. So we got there. Everybody else was coming at 7 at night, so I got the kid to let us in at 3 o'clock. I said, "We're coming at 3." I said, "I want to meet with you and your parents at 3." And so we did our meeting and did our deal. And we were going back to the airport because we were flying somewhere else. And Roy Williams was landing at Carolina, and we walked by each other in the FBO there. He kind of patted me on the back and said, "Hey, my wife went to UNC. Nice to meet you, Coach." He patted me on the back. He's like, "All right, son, I'm going to do this." He thought we had no chance. And I sat there and thought, this guy has no idea. Like, these people aren't impressed with what you bring. The dad's a farmer and the mom's a corrections officer. they have no interest in going to somewhere that sticks their nose up at everybody like North Carolina. They have no interest in that. They have no, yeah, he's a good player, but he doesn't fit what you guys are about. That's not the type of person you usually get. And I told my assistant when we walked by, I said, they're totally underestimating us. They're totally underestimating what we have to offer this person and the legwork we've done to build a relationship. I was recruiting a kid before at VCU. My assistant was recruiting him before at Wichita State, and then he kind of shot up, and all these Kansas and North Carolina, all these people offered him. But my point was, once we identified and knew he was our type person, and he identified with what we were about, we felt good about it. Everybody in the world was a week before was saying, "Oh, he's going to." I said, "No, we're going to get him. We're going to get him," because I knew we'd identified our person. He fit with our vision. He fit with our plan, and we were able to bring him on board. He's going to be a very, very good player for us. But I think that's the most important part is talent acquisition and recruiting. And whatever you're doing, any good business, you talk about your board of directors, you got great people. You got great people to advise you in different areas. And I think that's a very, very important part. The other part is what you put out there, social media, that sort of thing. When I got to LSU, we were like a decade behind in how we deal with all that stuff. And so, I don't know how much you guys know about LSU, but there's a lot of processes. And, I like things done. I like things done like yesterday. So I don't like to wait a whole lot. So they got mad at me for like the first month. I said, "Well, I'm new. I don't really know." So I just brought in all these interns. I just went on campus and just started hiring them. And I'm serious. I just brought up. Brittany's laughing. Our administrative assistant's back there because we have people going all over the place. Brittany's like, "You can't do that." I said, "Brittany, we're going to do it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to do it, and then they'll slap us on the wrist, but we're going to get what we want out of it." But we brought in interns for graphics, for Twitter, just for everything, so we could get our brand out there and get our message out there with what we wanted out there. We came up with the slogan, "Boot Up," boot the state of Louisiana, and we want to go up. We want to take it to the top. We want to move up from where we are now, and then we've tried to brand ourselves. We tried to brand ourselves with that. And think about branding's powerful. Branding's powerful. How many of you guys watch the NBA? Anybody follow the NBA a little bit? All right, if I asked you, of all time, who are name me some of the best rebounders of all time. Name me some of the best NBA rebounders of all time.
Rodman.
Who?
Rodman.
Who? Oh, perfect. What'd you say?
Dennis Rodman.
This is perfect. I swear I didn't plant this. I swear I didn't plant this. I told Coach Brady, I said, "Coach, you're going to have to bail me out. If nobody says Rodman, you got to say Rodman." I told him that. I said, "Nobody says it, you got to say it." This is perfect. How about this? You guys know Dennis Rodman. He flew all over the court, had the eccentric hair, played for the Bad Boys, the Pistons. How about if I told you he's not even one of the top 20 rebounders in NBA history? He's not. If you look at the all-time rebound list, he's not one of the top 20 rebounders in NBA history. But that's how he's branded himself. And that's how everybody else has branded him, that he is this wild man that runs around and rebounds everywhere. The reality is, and you guys will see this year, I worked for a guy, Shaka Smart. We're actually going to scrimmage them tomorrow. We pressed our way to the Final Four. We ran and pressed and flew all over the court and did all that sort of thing. Well, if you watch our team play at VCU, we didn't press hardly at all. But everybody says, "Oh, you press, you do this, you do that." Now we're going to get back to pressing here because that's the type of team we have, and we're going to maneuver it a little bit more. But it's amazing how stuff can stick with you, good or bad, good or bad. And Rodman's a perfect example. Like I said, I didn't even plant that. That's one of the first names out. He's not even a top 20 rebounder, but that's how he's branded himself. So I think all that is extremely important, especially in today's world. Having a great culture, who you recruit, how you recruit them, making sure you're identifying the right people to be on your team. And I'll say this about that too. In our world, and probably in some, I think people totally underestimate themselves. They aim way too low. They aim way too low. Like with recruiting, everybody says, "Oh, you guys are recruiting." Well, why shouldn't we? We're LSU. We're in the SEC. We all go to. I got to play in the same tournament as Kentucky does in March. Why wouldn't I want to have the same players Kentucky has? Right? What are we doing? We're not trying to get the same guys they got. Why are we even throwing the ball up? Like everybody, "Oh, you should just go." No, we're going to go try to get the best players. We're going to try to get the best people. I think people aim way too low and try to meet those expectations as opposed to aim high, and maybe you fall a little bit short, but at least you tried. At least you tried, and they sell yourself short a little bit. And then with the branding, it's all about the story you tell. You got to have a compelling story. You got to have, you got to have the right people and the right means to get that message out. I think those are important components. And I'll take any questions. You guys haven't talked a lot of basketball stuff. You don't want to hear me talk basketball right now, but I haven't talked a lot about that. But
Coach, I got a question.
Yes.
So if and I'm sure there's no perfect answer to this because there's several. When you are in the living room or you're thinking about your pitch when you're passing Roy Williams, what is your number one selling point relative to a kid that's maybe from Detroit that you want to come to Baton Rouge, Louisiana?
Every kid's different. Every kid's different. Always try to find one thing that I can connect with the family on. There's got to be one common bond that you've got. There's got to be one common bond. Like for that kid that I was talking about from Florida, all I talked to him about was don't change your formula. You've been unbelievably successful by being a blue-collar, hard-working person. Me and you are just alike. We've pulled ourselves up from our bootstraps. I have no coaching pedigree. You have no basketball pedigree. You were a fat ninth grader who couldn't even make his high school team. All right? And now you've got every school in the country recruiting. Don't forget where you came from. Me and you are the same person. I got no safety net. If I fail, I got no great coaching. I got none of that. I got no safety net. I'm done. You got no safety net either. Don't change what you've been doing. Your formula has worked to make you successful. Don't go off and change your successful formula now by seeing the stars and going for all this crazy stuff. But I always try to find some commonality that we have that I can pitch them on, no matter what it is. I think if you can find common ground or commonality and they're naturally kind of drawn into you, then you can then you've got them. But one thing that we do that's a little bit unique. You know, all the coaches always laugh that the golden rule in recruiting is the last liar wins. That's what they always. That's what they always say. Probably in sales too, right? But you know, we go in there and we're pretty raw with them. We tell them, look, I'm not here. I'm not promising you playing time. I'm not promising. Now I got opportunity, or I wouldn't be here. You got to come in here and earn it. We don't sit in there. Everybody goes in there usually and paints a tremendous picture. We go in there and paint what we talked about, a very blue collar. Hey, if you come here and you work, and you come here and you do what we say to do, you're going to play and you're going to have a chance to be very, very successful. If you don't, you're not going to make it here. So don't even come if you don't want to come work. If you don't want to come work, go spend your time somewhere else. When we play you, we'll beat you. Go spend your time there. That's fine. That's fine. And so that's one of our best. That's one of our best pitches. Some of you guys have heard this. Some of you guys haven't. But I tell this joke a lot, and I tell this in the home to parents. This is usually what I end with in the home. I tell them that, look, everybody else has been in here BSing you. I'm in here telling it like it is. So you can either listen to what they have to say, or you're going to appreciate me when I've at least told you what's real. And so I always tell them this guy who went to the gates of heaven. He's sitting there with St. Peter. St. Peter says, well, son, do you want to go to heaven or do you want to go to hell? Yeah, so I've never really thought about that. I thought that was a pretty simple question. St. Peter says, why don't you try him out for a day? Go take a visit for a day. St. Peter says, and the guy says, okay. St. Peter says, all right, where do you want to go first? He says, off to hell. Goes to hell for a day. It's unbelievable. Tiki bars, beaches. It's absolutely awesome. Has a great time. Comes back, tells St. Peter, says, wow, that was awesome. Never thought it'd be like it. St. Peter says, you want to try heaven? He's like, yeah, I guess I'll go try it out for a day, whatever. Goes down to the right, goes to heaven. Very nice. Lawns are manicured. Middle America. Everybody's very polite, but nothing over the top. Just good old-fashioned, blue-collar, hard-working folks. Comes back, St. Peter says, well, where are we going? I said, well, hell. It was absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Goes down to hell. Gets down there, fire, brimstone. What you guys probably thought I was going to say. Just terrible. Terrible. looks at the next guy in hell and says, well, where's the devil? I need to go talk to him. He says, devil's right around the corner to the left. Guy goes over to the devil and says, devil, what in the world's going on? The devil says, hey man, recruiting season's over. This is the real deal. So I usually end with that in the home visit. I play it up a little more than I did for you guys. I add some different stuff in there and whatnot. But my point being, I always try to let them know, look, we've told you what's real. All the rest of these guys are painting this picture for you that's not going to be real when you get there. If you want to fall for it, that's fine. I always tell them, if you want to fall for it, that's fine. Don't call me when you want to transfer. I'm not going to pick up your call. Because you didn't believe in us the first time, and I'm not going to believe in you the second time. So either get on board, or you can get on out. So, I'm sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
It was a great answer.
All right.
You said something earlier that was really cool. You said you meet with the kids for 30 minutes once a week.
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah.
Is that just you by yourself?
Just me.
Individually?
Just me. I don't have anybody else in there but me and them. We do it once a month, just to. I want to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. I mean, people forget this is how crazy our stuff is. So I have a kid, my best player last year on my team. This is the sort of stuff I try to avoid. But my best player last year on my team, really, he was our whole team. And in the meeting with him, he had played terrible 2 nights before. You know, I was really close with the kid. I recruited him when I was an assistant there. Me and him were very, very close. I said, his name was, I said, Jay. I said, come here, Jay. When we were meeting, I said, Jay, what's going on? Is something wrong with you? He had a little daughter. I said, is something wrong with your daughter? So we get to talking about all this other stuff. And at the end, he says, Coach, can I really tell you what's going wrong? I said, what? He said, I let one of the players borrow my car, and they scratched my door up. He said, me and you would sit there and go, what's the issue? We'll go get the door fixed. But the kid had played bad for a week because a player had scratched his door. And the kid would have probably played bad for a month if I hadn't had the meeting with him and figured out another kid had scratched his door. So I just tried to, that was related more to basketball, but we were talking about his daughter and everything else. And so I think the guys appreciate that we do it and they have an outlet. So I tell them all the time, one of my other things is never bet against consistent behavior. So I think we do that consistently. I think I'm consistent with that every month, and they know they've got an outlet every month. Now sometimes they keep stuff pent up until that meeting, but they at least know they got an outlet every month where I'm going to listen to them. I'm not always going to agree with them. I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to help them when they need help, or point them in the right direction for help whenever they need help. But I think, I don't know. Some of my assistants think sometimes that it's a waste of time, but I don't see it that way. I think the kids play harder for us. I think the kids know that we care. As hard as we coach them, they have to know that we care. As hard as you work somebody, they have to know that at least you have some level of some side of a human element to you. And so I think that helps us with that, big time.
Coach, how strong is the LSU brand all over the country?
That surprised me. The LSU brand nationally is about 3 times as strong as I thought, and that was very, very surprising. I knew it was strong locally in Louisiana. I knew it'd be strong in Texas and in the Gulf Coast a little bit, South Mississippi, Southern Alabama, Florida Panhandle. I knew we'd be very strong there. But we can go anywhere and people are stopping here. We can call any kid in the country and they'll pick up our call at this point. And so I think the LSU brand was much, much stronger than I anticipated. That's a credit to a lot of people who played here long before I even got here. So I tell our guys all the time, drink from the well, but don't forget who dug it. So my staff too, they'll pick up those calls. They're not picking up because we're nice guys. They're picking up because they like LSU.
How good are the players in our state?
Players in our state, it's up and down. It's up and down. We had a good cycle this year, and the next year's cycle's not as good. And then the 2 cycles after that are pretty good. That's the tough part. Like in 2019, we're going to have to go to Tech. We're going to have to go all over the country to get good. That's where we're going to have to use our national brand. There may be one kid in state who can play for us next year, and he's in a part of the state that we don't have a whole lot of success in. And we're going to go up there and have some success there. But there's pockets where we're just, there's pockets that are basically in Arkansas and basically in Texas. You got to go up there and you got to fight off Arkansas. You got to go over and fight off SMU and some of those areas. So, you know, in a perfect world, we get the top 2 kids in Louisiana every year, and they'd be good enough to play for us. But I always say this: when you take a local kid, man, he has to play. You take a kid in state, they have to play, and it has to work, or you're going to get killed. You're not going to get them that one. So they've got to work. They've got to be good enough to take it. All right, let's eat.
Let's eat.